What's the best bit about being on YouTube?
I think definitely the thing that I've enjoyed the most about being on YouTube has been the people that I've met, and not just the people that I've met, but also the people that that you interact with on a daily basis or weekly basis on the videos. So if you think about it, you've met some of the guys, some of my friends. You've met James, you've met Mally.
Yep.
And and obviously Jules was supposed to be staying with us, but he had to cancel. Okay. And then we've had Jeff. We've been out for dinner with Ian Spicer. Yep. So these are guys that I've met through the channel, through YouTube, and I think in that respect, it's actually probably been the biggest impact on my life, and that's the best one. But there are also, there are other people that comment every week or on every video, also comment on my blog, and there's about 3 or 4 of them, and I've never met them, and I wouldn't know what they look like, but I know where they live and what they like and what cameras they use, and I know if I take an image, I'll think, oh, Miguel will like that one, or I'll think, Andy will like that one, and that's quite nice. And the other really nice thing is that some of the people that comment on the videos and that I kind of got to know have subsequently been on workshops and have been on one-to-ones as well.
That's nice. What are you really doing in the office when you tell me you're responding to comments?
So I don't think you really, I don't think you understand, and I don't think a lot of people understand just how much time and effort it takes to respond to comments. And it's also, for me, the most important bit of YouTube. And social media in general. I mean, the clue's in the title, social. It's all about interacting with people, and that's where I spend an awful lot of my time and effort, and have done really since the start of the channel. And not just when you get comments, you want to be able to be constructive and rather than just cheers mate all the time. And it does take a lot of time. It does. I mean, I think when I haven't been so good at it recently, but that's just because I think lockdown's been difficult.
Everyone's found it difficult.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone if they were starting on YouTube?
So YouTube's very different from when I started. It was a lot easier. I mean, landscape photography on YouTube, was I guess relatively new, and there weren't certainly when I started out, there weren't very many amateurs doing it. There were a few pros doing it, and largely those guys are still doing it, but there weren't very many amateurs doing it, and so it was a lot easier for us to get attention. Now there's so many people doing it, there's so much content being put out, which is a good thing. There's lots of good content for people to watch, but it does mean that if you're starting out, it's much harder to get attention and to grow, and it can become quite disconcerting and quite you get disappointed when you don't see your numbers growing. And I think we all learned the hard way that numbers don't really matter, and if it's just the numbers that you're interested in, then you're in it for the wrong reasons. And James Burns is really good at this. He doesn't really pay too much attention to the numbers. He loves creating videos. He loves going out with his camera and going up in the hills and waving his telephoto lens about and all that kind of nonsense, and creating videos, and that's why he does it. And to him, the numbers don't really matter. So what James does is create videos that James wants to make, and I should do more of that, I think. So anyway, I digress. So the point is, the advice that I would give is, if you are going to start a YouTube channel, make sure you're starting it for the right reasons. If you think you're going to be the next Thomas Heaton, you're not. And I learned that the hard way, because I'm not going to be the next Thomas Heaton. And so I would say if you're starting for the right reasons, and just keep going. So it took me 17 videos to get to 100 subscribers, and so YouTube's a marathon, not a sprint.
If you could have anyone on your channel, who would it be?
I've got no idea. Genuinely got no idea. We talked about doing a collaboration with Mark. It would be quite cool. But I think I'd like to have people on the channel that are perhaps not YouTubers themselves, or perhaps aren't even professional photographers. I've had a few people that are just subscribers on my channel. Obviously, we had Jeff come on. He stayed with us, didn't he? Did a few videos. Ian Spicer has come on and did one. And then back in the early days, we had Jeff McDonald, who came on. I think he may have even been in the first year of the channel. And I also had, of course, about this time last year, Alex, who sadly died very shortly afterwards. And I really like that. I really enjoy that side of things. But it's one of those things that you have to be kind of quite cagey about. It's not one of these things I can go onto video and say, if you want to come on, if you're a subscriber and you want to come on and just get in touch, because I think the problem is that you just get you get too many. And I had Cat Ding on as well. To Buttermilk Cat. Yeah. You know, and I really like that, and I joke that this sort of thing, talking about myself, is my favourite thing. But I think YouTube should be a bit of a two-way street, and I'm always looking at ways that I can see what other photographers are doing, that people that watch my channel are doing, and I'd like to bring them in and have them involved.
Does it still upset you when you get nasty comments?
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably does. I mean, you know, when you start out on YouTube and you've got a few people watching you, everybody's nice, and you know, everybody's kind of complimentary. And as you get a bit bigger, you start to attract more and more people, and you start to get kind of negative comments. And that can be really, really hard to take. Then as you get bigger and bigger, and if you have a video that does well and gets you in front of people that perhaps you wouldn't normally, you can attract some really quite horrible comments, some very nasty comments, designed purely to knock you off your stride and to knock your confidence and to score one over on you and that kind of thing. And I think, unfortunately, that goes with the territory. And it's not something that I am very good at. I don't like it. It's a negative side to YouTube. And that's not to say that I don't like it when people say, I don't like that photograph that you took. If they then go on to say, because X, Y, Z, you know, everybody has an opinion, and that's absolutely fine, I can take that. But when someone just says you're crap, or, you know, you get criticism for everything, you know. And it, you know, sometimes it can, but I think you have to learn, if you're going to do YouTube, you have to learn not to let it affect you, not to kind of dwell on it. And you know, it's a lesson that I'm learning still. What I think one of the really helpful things for me though is Jules. I talk to Jules quite a lot about it, and he's quite level-headed about this sort of thing. And he's often he put it to me. I was having coffee with him and David Dixon last year, and we were talking about the negative side of YouTube. And Jules was saying, you know, look, you know, if it's not somebody that you've ever met, if it's not somebody whose work you've never seen, if it's not somebody whose opinion matters, then, you know, you should just dismiss it.
What would you really love to say to them?
I don't know, really, because I don't really feel like sort of snapping back. I mean,
it's not in your nature.
It's not really. I mean, I just don't. I personally don't understand what any photographer would ever get from criticising another one. I just don't understand. I just don't understand it. I don't know what people hope to gain. There are definitely people out there who criticise other photographers to make themselves feel better. And they must know that they're doing that. They must know that that's their motivation. But I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
How many subscribers do you have?
At the minute, I've got 14,000. I don't know why I paused to think. I know exactly how many I've got. I've got about 14,000.
And how many does Thomas Heaton have?
Tom, I've got no idea.
So,
It must be over 400,000, I should think, right now.
So, why are you not as big as him then?
Why am I not as big as Thomas Heaton? Thank you, sweetie.
I love you.
So I used to like to pretend that it was because Tom had been doing it longer than me, but the truth is I've actually been doing this now for 3 years. And so I can't really use that as an excuse anymore. I think the reason why Tom has more subscribers than me, I mean, I think there are 3 reasons. I think 1, he's a better photographer. I think 2, he's a better videographer. And I think 3, he works harder. And I think that's one of the things that, is really, really important. And you know, bless him, he works, the man's worked his arse off to get where he is in the last 5 or 6 years, and he deserves all the success he gets. And I don't think he gets the credit for that. So I think if I I don't think there's any chance of me getting to that level. As far as YouTube is concerned, but the other thing as well is also I don't believe that you need that large a following to have a successful business.
Do you think Thomas Heaton makes his wife go to work?
Yeah, I suspect he does. Yeah, yeah. What are you getting at? You've quite enjoyed lockdown, haven't you?
I've loved this mini trial for time.